They say ayahuasca changes you, but no one talks about the long stretch of confusion that comes after. All the doubt, the second guessing, the endless questions, and the crazy dreams. I thought ceremony would fix me, but I soon found out the real work began when I got home. And it all started with a simple ultimatum. One day my girlfriend at the time came home and said, "I'm gonna do ayahuasca, and if you're not coming, I'm going without you." This was a big deal to me because psychedelics didn't really agree with who I was, so I was nervous. I was also scared I'd lose control, or worse, that nothing would happen. But I didn't want to look like a pussy, so I went. And I read online that ayahuasca was a one-night miracle. Cure your depression in one sitting, they said. And when you're numb inside, you'll believe anything that promises instant relief. So I agreed and figured, I'll suffer through one night and come out a new man. What could go wrong? And the weird thing was, the ceremony space wasn't in Peru. It was about 30 minutes from my house in this beautiful chalet on an abandoned ski resort. It wasn't the setting I'd imagined when I first heard about ayahuasca. So I get there, and the first guy I meet was Tony. And he didn't look nervous at all, so I asked him, how many times have you been here, man? He says, about 70 times. I said, holy fuck, why? And he said the words that changed my life. Because I got a lot of trauma, man. My heart sunk, and I knew right then this wasn't going to be the quick fix that I thought it was going to be. As a young child, I drowned. I fell off a boat the old man was working on. I'm pretty sure I died for a minute because I saw this beautiful woman standing over me, telling me I was going to be just fine. And it was a beautiful feeling. I believed her every word. But for most of my life, I questioned if she was real or not. And when I walked into that room decades later, I was fucking dead inside. I wore a thick suit of armor and carried a voice in my head that sounded curiously like my father, telling me I'd never be good enough and this was just a waste of time. And when the medicine came on, she came in, and it was her. It was the woman I saw when I fell off the boat that day. And she sat down beside me in my vision, and she stroked my back and whispered, "You're gonna be okay. I love you. You're a good boy." And my armor fell off, and decades of held-back tears came all at once. And I cried for the first time since I was a kid. And the tears brought compassion and empathy for myself, and I wondered, why did I wait so long to let myself have this? And it's probably one of the more beautiful things that have ever happened to me in my life. We had a long conversation that night, but before she left, she said, "You need to come back. You have more work to do." And for a few months after that, I felt like a new man. But then came the doubt, as it always did. And I wondered, is this real? And does it even matter? I'd been living in my head for so long that I didn't even realize how far I was gone. I was arguing with myself and others, trying to convince myself if any of it was real or not, the reoccurring theme. Anyway, about a year and a half into this whole adventure, life got serious. And it started with a cough that wouldn't quit. And I ignored it because my girlfriend kept calling me a hypochondriac. And she was right, I was. So I was trying to tough it out, be a man. Then one morning I woke up, got in the shower, and I hacked up a bunch of blood. I remember thinking, okay, this is not in my head. And when I got the CAT scan, I heard the text say, "Uh-oh, that's not good." That shut the voice up in my head for a minute. They found what they called a rather large mass in my right lung. A strange thing happens when you really need help. For some reason, it'll show up for you if you want it. And it wasn't some grand plan, it was more like a fortunate accident. My friend Brian, who was an apprentice at the time, needed a place to practice, and I had the living room. Also, I thought I was dying, so it just seemed like the right thing to do at the time. We drank ayahuasca on Wednesdays, and we had the men's group meeting on Thursdays every week for a year. It's insane to think that I did that now, but I did. I would just be sitting in my living room, spitting blood into a puke bucket once a week. Nothing to see here, all totally normal. Friends would come over and Brian would show up, and my house turned into the place where people unloaded their darkest shit. All the while, I wondered how much more time I had on this earth. Some nights were beautiful, but some nights were total fucking chaos. I remember one time I could hear people speaking English, but I couldn't understand it. And for some reason, I was just totally okay with it. Blissed right out, didn't matter at all. Other nights, I found myself rolling around on the ground thinking I was never coming back. And the funny thing is, when I first started ceremonies, they all made perfect sense. The visions and the feelings were big, but understandable. I'd come out of the night and feel like something was resolved. And that year, Wednesdays was nuanced, and it made no fucking sense at the time until many years later. I just knew I couldn't go back to being numb, and I couldn't think my way through it either. So I kept showing up because something in me just knew I had to do it. And what else are you going to do? You don't turn something like that down when you have the chance. So much has happened since then. It all seems like a long time ago now. But eventually, I was done. Not done with healing, but done with ceremony. It was just time to go out and apply the lessons to my life. Ayahuasca helped me, but it didn't fix me. And if she taught me anything, it's this. You can have the most powerful experience of your life, but if you're stuck in your head, you'll talk yourself out of it in a matter of weeks. Your mind will want certainty, and it'll pick it apart until you kill the most important thing, the feeling. If you think ceremony or a hack will fix you, it won't. The only thing that changed me was learning to trust my instinct, even if my head didn't like it. If I could go back in time, I'd give that man a hug and tell him it's going to be okay. Just keep going. I think I'd tell him, the mind tells you lies, but your body knows the truth.